Everyone has their own way of approaching moral dilemmas. That's pretty much why people can have wildly different viewpoints. At the end of the day, we are the outcome of all our past experiences. We act and behave in ways that almost seem predetermined, and it shows when people with similar lived experiences have their lives play out in similar ways. I say that, but by no means do I think that means we're screwed and stuck with a life we might not want. The issue being that this is where we actively have to try and change. We can be the masters of our own lives, but it's really hard. Change is difficult, change is messy, change is ugly, and most unfortunately, change is necessary. The uncomfortable truth is that change will feel so uncomfortable to you because your brain will fight you every step of the way. Say you actually have thoughts of disliking your life. If that's the case, of course, your brain will actively work to keep you there, because even if something's not ideal, it's still something comfortable, and your brain will try to keep you there because at least you're not dying. Blah, blah, blah. Get on with it. I'm going to say a thought and we're going to sit with it a little bit. You don't have to agree, but you do have to sit with it. Yeah, baby, you're going to have to put on your big boy, big girl, big MB pants on. And since I know you'll do it because none of you are bitch made, right? Because refusing to admit otherwise is basically saying you're just a little baby who's a little afraid of sitting with uncomfortable feelings, and that's not you, right? Surely that's not you. Or maybe it is. Just let me know in the comments if you're a little baby that's scared of feeling uncomfortable feelings, but you probably won't do that since that would require bravery and you have none, which is why you're running away. For all the lighthearted banter I will be doing, please keep in mind that there are words that the big YT doesn't like me using. I will trust you to be smart enough to follow along, but if all of this is too complicated for you, just let us know down in the comments. And I feel this is going to start to sound a bit repetitive. You won't do that because, well, referred to the previous point. So, the A word. If you don't get it, that's completely on you. Okay, so imagine this. You're 17 and in a relationship, and in, say, a moment of weakness, you end up hooking up with your partner. This results with a pregnancy. Let's say they both come from very religious families and they end up getting kicked out of their houses. With nowhere to go and a stretch away from a high school diploma, they are condemned to a cycle of poverty in the streets, because statistically speaking, it's those same religious families that actively vote to remove any type of government programs that would support them. Then the child is born and they must live their entire lives in poverty, and that's not taking into account the chance of them getting taken away and put into the adoption system. Some of you probably think this is unrealistic, but need I remind you that unemployment is on the rise, and this might become much more common, especially as people start losing their jobs to AI. Might I add that I'm so fucking tired of seeing AI all over the place. It doesn't work well, except when it comes to allowing PDFs to undress literal boys and girls, but that's a topic for another day. Look, I don't give a flying turd nugget where you land on the whole pro-life, pro-choice debate, but you need to understand that if you're not morally consistent, or at the very least making an attempt to be so, your opinion doesn't matter. You're not allowed to tell others what they can and can't do if you can't at the very least live what you preach. And if you think that's harsh or bullying or targeting, then let's just go over the moral inconsistencies from the pretend but very real scenario we just talked about. In this previous situation, the couple is getting condemned to what you have to recognize to them feels like nothing but a punishment because they don't want the kid. And I thought children were supposed to be blessings. They are also served a lifetime punishment for a crime they committed when most of the world doesn't even consider them to be adults yet, because again, they're 17 in this case. Again, underage pregnancies happen whether you like it or not. Then they can't even get an A word because that's not allowed in some states anymore, and their parents probably wouldn't approve. The alleged religious folk would then show absolutely no type of empathy and would kick them out despite their book having some sort of messaging surrounding the idea of helping their neighbor. Finally, they also wouldn't get support for being abandoned and alone, possibly on the streets, because the same religious folk voted against those programs. This is a very real situation of what happens with religious fanatics in any religion, which is why I didn't specify a particular one. Have any of you actually read any of your books? Where is all the empathy and love that is spoken about in them? Why is it that you guys just choose to use just the bad thing? That's why people don't take you guys seriously. Contrary to popular belief, most people don't care what you believe in, but you can't just pick and choose what applies from your religion and then try to enforce it on others. And unless you follow what you preach, no one gives a fuck, to be honest. That is, unless you don't actually believe the stuff you say you do and just choose what's convenient to get what you want. But surely you wouldn't do that. That would make you an absolutely shitty person, right? Let me know in the comments if you're just a shitty person, but you probably won't, since you're probably a coward since you hide behind a religion, and we already know all about cowards thanks to the above points. I'm not telling you that you have to be pro-choice, but you know damn well those books all talk about supporting thy neighbor in one way or another. And if you're unwilling to help with that baby that was born directly thanks to your decision of forcing them to keep it, then you are being nothing more than a hypocrite. Why do you think we pay taxes? We aren't in feudal times anymore. There is supposed to be a type of money pool where we put money into so it can help out everyone who pitched in. People contribute differently because it's not the same to ask one person to contribute $1 if they make $50 a day as it is to ask someone to contribute $1 if they make $1,000 a day. At the end of the day though, they shouldn't care because all that money goes back directly into improving the community everybody lives in, which in turn makes everyone happier. That isn't how things are going though, is it? Let's be honest that all these rules and changes that get made are almost never in our benefit, and it doesn't matter which side is pushing laws, they always work together to push for laws that benefit them, even if it is at our expense. It doesn't have to be that way, but we have to work together to change it so the rules also benefit us. Despite the popular belief, people do want to have kids, and while it's not every case, most people don't want to have to get an A word, but they know having the child would make everyone involved miserable. If you want that person to keep their baby, you have to help fund programs that will support the parents and the baby. If you're unwilling to change your mind on that, then no one cares what you think, because that would make you a poser that uses religion to feel morally superior to others, and because it lets you grandstand like an insecure child. I think it's also important to note that the desire to be a good person must come from within you. This isn't a hostage situation, and no one is forcing you gun to your head to do anything. As they say, we live in a society, and since society is kind of like a group project sort of thing, you have to do it because it's expected from you, but it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't come from you. If you need religion to be a good person, then at the very minimum you're a psychopath on a leash. Go read your book if you disagree, and I mean the whole thing. It shouldn't be a problem for you since you love it so much, right? Unless you're lying about that too. And don't go doing any of that pick and choose freak shit because I got my eyes on you. If you can't live in accordance from what your book tells you, shut the fuck up. It's easy. If you're able to practice what you preach, then sit down and together we can come up with a compromise. I think anyone would say that isn't at least reasonable. Now go like the video and sub and hit the bell. That is, unless you're a little baby who got a little butt hurt because someone made them feel a little uncomfortable and now you're clicking the dislike button. Fortunately, it just lets me know how many of you are in your feelings so I can check and laugh if I'm ever feeling down. What do you guys think? Despite how many of y'all might interpret this, I do sincerely wish a day comes where everyone can coexist and we're all able to thrive together. And even if you don't want it to be that way, even if you want things to remain shitty as they are right now, I will still do my best to help make a world that makes life easier for you and for me. I decided to do things a little different today and actually write some modicum of a script since I couldn't improv my way into saying the exact things I wanted to. I might do more videos in this style in the future, but don't count on it too much or you'll probably be disappointed. On the real, leave a like and a sub. It's literally free, you cheapskate. Thanks for watching if you're still watching. This has been your big bro Subtle. Deuces.